This is a video on how to make a miniature angel pocket, which is exactly the same technique as to make a large one. So this is for demonstration purposes only. You will just need to increase your stitches for whatever size you wish to have. This is a different technique. It has eyelets all around. But I'm making this super simple one, which does not have eyelets. It will be done in 4 stages. The first stage will be just basically working the first triangle, next triangle, and the third triangle. That's the first stage. Next stage after that will be the row of eyelets. That will stage 2. Stage 3 will be whip stitching it together. And then stage 4 will be adding the ribbon. I do have separate videos on just the different sections, but this video is going to have all 4 stages in together. And there are also separate videos which will have, or you can go anywhere on the internet really, YouTube, but I will be uploading videos on how to add lace around the edge. It'll be hand sewn on. It's not wool, it will be fabric lace. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope that you'll find it easy to follow and that you yourself will be making some angel pockets. In the description there are some charities here in the UK. I'm sure also in other countries, but here in the UK there are some charities, Facebook groups that supply the hospitals and ambulances with these much needed little angel pockets, or angel wraps is another word they also use. So there we go. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy. Hi, this is a very basic pattern, how to make this little chap. I'm actually going to be starting down here, and I will end there. There is another video on how to do the eyelets. So this is just a miniature demonstration for an angel pocket, and it's very simple. Casting on 3 stitches. We're going to be working up to 18 stitches, back down to 3, back up to 18, like an hourglass. I have written down for the increase, I'm going to slip 1 stitch, knit a stitch, pick up a loop, knit to the end, and it'll become I'll explain to you just now how to do that. And for decrease, slip 1 stitch, knit 2 together, knit to the end, and that's it. So to start, because I want to have my cast on row tight, I'm not going to use 2 needle cast on, which I normally do. I'm just going to cast on with 1 needle. Cast on whichever way you like. So I'll put a loop on the, I've put a slip knot onto the needle, and 1, 2, 3 stitches in total. Turn. I'm going to be knitting 1 row, and that will be the base of the triangle. Oops. A little bit tricky, a little bit fiddly. 2, 3. And you'll see just now why I need this first row, because I'm going to be needing that little loop there in the middle. That's my increase. So we are going to slip the first stitch, knit the second stitch, pick up the loop, knit it, knit to the end, turn the work, slip the first stitch, knit the next stitch, pick up the loop, and knit to the end. Turn the work. Slip the first stitch, knit the next stitch, pick up the loop, knit to the end. Slip one, knit one, pick up the loop, knit to the end. Let's be a little bit more precise. And so slip the first stitch, knit the next stitch, pick up the loop that was created from the previous row, knit to the end. And you will continue with this. This is the pattern until you have the desired number of stitches. Slip the first, knit, pick up the loop, which you then knit, and knit to the end. This is a very basic garter stitch pocket. So continue that until you have the desired number of stitches. My pocket is going to be a mini pocket, so there'll be 18 stitches. And I'll catch up with you now. So here I am with 18 stitches, as I'll be replicating this one. And I've made sure to keep the tension nice and tight on the edges so they don't gape. And for the rest of the row, I just used my normal tension. So we're going to go straight onto the decrease. I'm not making a row of knit without increase or decrease. I'm going straight onto the decrease. So I'm going to slip one, I'm going to knit two together, and I'm going to knit to the end. Slip one, knit two together. Excuse me, because my stitches are twisted, I have to take them off the needle and put them back on. Knit two together, keeping the tension nice and tight, just so that, because these are the edge stitches. And then for the rest, I knit using my normal tension. This is lovely wool from Aldi here in the UK. It's advertised as a DK, but it's very thick. It's lovely. 4mm needles. There we go. Slip the first stitch, knit two together, and knit to the end. And you continue with this until you come down to 3 stitches. Slip the first one, knit two together, and knit to the end. Okay, see when I get down to the last 4 stitches. So down to 5 stitches. Let's say 4, but show it down to 5. So it is slip, knit two together, knit the last 2 stitches. Now we have 4. Slip, knit two together, knit the last stitch. So there are 3. Now we're going to be starting the triangle again, and if you remember, the triangle starts with one row of knit, and that is to create the base of the triangle. See, look here, I couldn't pick up these to look as two. Those are the two decreases from the previous row, so that's no use to me. I need one row to create the base. Turn it over, and now we're going to be increasing. Slip one, knit one, pick up the loop, knit. Slip one, knit one, pick up the loop, knit. Slip one, knit one. Oops. I was trying to show you where the loop is. So you can see we're not picking up anything other than the loop creates it from the previous row. Slip one, knit one, pick up the loop, knit it, knit to the end of the row, and that triangle will grow. Till you come back to the same amount of stitches that you had there. In this case, 18. See you there. So this is the home run. I have 19 stitches, and I'll just do the final row before the eyelets. So slip one, knit one, keeping nice tension, pick up the loop, and knit to the end of the row. So now I have 18 stitches on the needle. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, which is the same amount as I had there. So when the little pocket is folded like that, it will match. So the row of eyelets, there's a separate video which I demonstrated for this one, but I thought, well, while we're here, I'll just complete the pocket, and then if you ever want to watch the separate video on the eyelets, it should be in my playlist on angel pockets and angel wraps. So because I have an even number of stitches, which is the ideal for me, I'll be knitting 2 stitches together across the row, and in between will be a yarn over. So you just have to excuse me because I have to move my stitches like that. So knit 2 together. I'm going to yarn over to the front. You can yarn over to the back, whichever is easier for you, depending on how your hand positions are and how your stitches lie and which needle, whether you're continental or knitting otherwise. This is continental knitting, the yarn in the left hand. So knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over. So I said once again, I have a weird way, so I have to keep doing that. Knit 2 together, yarn over to the end of the row. And then when you come to the end, you will see that you'll have your yarn over and your last 2 stitches will be knitted together. That's why I like an even amount of stitches in my pockets, because then it's nice and firm here, nice and firm on that side. And if you count your stitches, it should be 1 less than the previous row. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17. Now to anchor the eyelets, we are going to do 1 row of knit. I'm not going to slip the first stitch. I'm actually going to knit it. Knit that yarn over from the previous row. You see there? This is how you make buttonholes. Keeping a nice firm tension. Nice firm tension all the way along. There we go. So now we've anchored the eyelets in place, and the next row will be a cast off. I'm going to work under tension for the cast off. It's not going to be a loose cast off, it's going to be a tight one. You can do whichever way you prefer to cast off. I'll just show you my method. I'm going to slip the first stitch. Then I'm going to knit the next one. Then I'm going to go back and fetch that first stitch and pull it over the stitch I've just knitted. Knit the next stitch, go back and fetch it, slip it over. Knit the next stitch, go back and fetch it. Knit the next stitch, go back and fetch that one. Knit the next one, go back and fetch that one, slip it over. Keeping it nice and tight. I mean, it's not excruciatingly tight, but it's not a loose it's not a loose cast off. I wanted to form a band, a nice firm band across the front of the pocket. And a little bit of a mess up there, it's alright. Fix the problem. I'll continue with this all the way to the end, literally to the last stitch. Now I pull this in. Depending on how you're going to close your pocket, will of course decide whether you're going to cut a long tail because you want to whip stitch your pocket closed, or you want to crochet your pocket closed. Also, you will decide whether you want to have this cast off edge facing inwards or facing outwards. So for instance, if you're going to crochet your pocket and you want to have that kind of V edge inside, then you'll place it inside and you'll crochet around the edge like that. This will be the outside, that will be the outside of the pocket. If you're going to be whip stitching, then you would put the right sides facing together, whip stitch it closed, and then you'll fold your pocket out. So let's try that. I'm going to measure the sides of the pocket. Now this is a miniature, so obviously it's going to be larger. It's 2 inches. And I'll be whip stitching this edge. I'll be whip stitching that edge as well. So that's 4 inches. And I'm going to increase it by 1.5. So it's 4 plus 4, which makes 8. And 1/2 of 4 is 2, so that makes 10. It's only 10 inches of yarn at least. You can be generous. Nice good 10 inches of yarn. To make sure that I have enough. If not, then we'll have to cut an extra piece and switch it, close it off. but because I like to make a lot of pockets at one go, I normally crochet them closed because I was using a different technique. But now because I want to actually hand sew lace onto these, not this particular one because this is a test sample, but I want to hand sew lace on, so I've changed the way I do them. So you want to be sure this is, on a small one like this, it's easy. You think, oh, that's fine, I can see where I'm going. But when it's larger, you want to be sure that you're not going to be working incorrectly. You really want to get everything married up properly. And you also want to make sure that that side and that side, where the tips of the pocket will be, they'll be the same. So what I always do is I just follow along a row. So for instance, if it's this row here, I love these little things. I always pop that in. I run my finger along the row. And I pop one in at the same place. And that way I know that at least my pocket on both sides will be the same. It doesn't mean I'll be working exactly in that spot, but it means that I'll make sure that when I've laid my pocket down, or my triangle down, I know where I'm working from. Then you can either use some more of these and just intermittently put them. Depends, as I said, once again, on your technique. If you're going to be crocheting, you might be using the stitches as a guide as to what crochet pattern you'll be doing. And if you're going to whip stitch it, you might want to whip stitch the little bumps together. So let's go and do that. So I'm going to whip stitch my little pocket closed. I've put markers on each end of a row, just above where the stitches are decreasing. I'm going to fold my little pocket. I'm going to use those as a guideline. And I'm going to whip my pocket closed. Now that I know where I am, see, now this is going to be the inside. So I've got the V's here because I've chosen to put the V's on the wrong side. It's the cast off row. So now I can see where I am. There's a little edge. I can take this guy out. First stitch is just going to anchor it. This is a darning needle, hasn't got a sharp point. Blunt nose needle. Matching up my sides. If it was a very long side, then I would have extra stitch markers holding it closed. Working towards me. You can whip stitch any way you want, really. I'm trying to get the little nodules. Let me take the nodule on that side and then the nodule on this side. Go back for that nodule. Come fetch this one here in the front. Once again, we'll have different techniques. The trick is you just want to try and make sure that it's going to lie even. Let's see where I am. I might be 1 or 2 nodules out. Yeah, let's just move this guy up here. Go to the middle. Don't use the nodules. There we go. This is looking good. Once again, go into that V there. Button to the nodule. Don't know why I've taken such a big darning needle. I'm actually going to try and find a smaller one. This is ridiculous. Yeah, no. That's probably going to be much easier to do. That's always nice to have a selection of darning needles. And just because the yarn is thick, I thought, oh yeah, I'll take that. But because I'm working into the nodules, it's a bit tricky. So remember, this last part is going to be there. And because I'm not whip stitching down, I'm whip stitching up, I need to make sure that, as I said, if it was a very long one, very long pocket, I'd probably add in a couple of stitch markers just to hold it in place. It's very little, so it's not necessary. Just move the yarn across, anchor it, and then whip stitch the nodules into place. See how much easier it is with a smaller needle. It goes right into the nodules without any problem. Okay, once again coming in for the home run. Yeah, I think the side seems to be nicely evened out. Let's just catch that in between the nodules. There's a little bit of yarn there because I want that to go into that red spot where that red one is. So he's going to be in there. Can fetch this one. It's a bit tricky, but you want the sides to be a little bit firm, or I should rather say secure, not firm, but secure. So go once more. Before I cut it, there's a little bit left, but that's good. Before I cut it, I'm just going to make sure it's fine. I have made an error somewhere. It's a very small pocket, so it looks a little bit weird because it's puffing out a bit, but I think that's fine. It's almost, you can't actually see which side is which, can you? That's because of this particular yarn. It's very forgiving. You can't see the increases, you can't see the whip stitch. It's lovely. There are some yarns that are not like that at all. So actually, before I work away these extra threads here, I'm going to change a needle. I like a nice pointed needle. Tapestry needle with a point. On eBay they're called chenille, CHENILLE. Working away, because if it's got a sharp point, you can literally break up the stitches as you pull it through. Kind of merge it in with the other ones. Making sure not to cut the work. I take that off, and then I've got this last little bit. Now I want to add lace to mine. Don't have the lace here yet. It's been ordered, it will come. I'll hand sew that in place with sewing thread. But if you wanted to crochet an edge, it can be just as pretty. So I'm just going to unravel this a bit. I'm going to work down the side where I'll be hand stitching the lace. But it's a bit thick. In this case it is a bit thick. And you can break it up. It takes a bit longer, but it's worth it. You can break it up and Just work each one away. Am I working upside down? You can't see the tails. So that's what I often do if it's a garment that's going to have a lot of wear and tear and be washed a lot. I prefer to break them up into separate ones. So then you work it away like that, and you actually can't see them at all. In this case, this is going to be fine. So there's a miniature pocket. Larger one will be, as you can see, much larger. Thank you very much, and I hope that you follow some other videos in my series. I will be adding more on the angel pockets. Bye now. Okay, so here we are on how to add the ribbon to the angel pocket. This is demonstration size only. What we're going to do is we're going to measure across, and then we are going to add enough on each side to tie. I'm going to show you a larger one, which will require on each side 8 inches. And for the larger one, I will use a 6mm ribbon. For the little one, 3mm ribbon. I buy these in reels of 50 meters on eBay. It's a couple of pounds per reel, and if you buy 3 reels you get a discount. So for less than £10 you can buy 150 meters of ribbon. So this is 7 plus 8 plus 8, so 2 18s is 16 plus 7 makes it 23 inches. That is 12. And 11. 23. Cut it across. Now I need to find a blunt darning needle with a generous hole. Put your ribbon through that. And starting on one side, using the eyelets as a guide, you're going to go through. Let's just see how many eyelets there are, because you need an uneven number. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19. So that should be good. Let's see if I can do this in one go without twisting it. That would be super. My little pocket has been washed. There we go. Yeah. Let's see. 1, 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. This is number 19. And coming out right at the end there. There we go. So there's not, it looks, you think, oh, that's a lot. 2 feet of ribbon. But it's not really. Because you need to be able to fold it and make a generous little bow for the little pocket. So for the little one, because I still need something to actually tie it on. So this is an experiment in its infancy. Not even 3. I think I'm going to have at least 5 on each side. So 5 plus 5 plus 3 is 13. Let's just go for 14, just to be on the safe side. So that's 14 inches of the 3mm ribbon. Okay, let's start right on the edge. You're going to have to create a hole. It's going to push it through. Not actually a hole there, eyelet, not actually an eyelet there, but I do want it to be as close to the edge as possible. Same on this side. It's literally going to just poke it through. There we go. Just zoom out a little bit. My little office is quite messy, but oops, in this case, I do want to show the different pockets. So yeah, you can see even though I used less ribbon, one still needs to be able to make the little bow. There we go. Thank you very much for watching and for following the A to Z on how to make a little angel pocket. Bye.